Alright, hello guys. So we've covered off the inf, we've covered off range, and we've covered off cav. Now we'll cover off mix. So you'll see a lot of players will have this as their main set because it's one of the most commons and it gives you the most balance out of all of them. So to be Wonder Wars, you usually want to be full champs and full 12 nowadays because of that effect. You'll probably your opponents will always likely be that. However, if they're not, then you measure up how you see and if you have a winning chance. So, however, if mixed champs is not in your budget, however, if you go no champs, then you can pretty much rock something like this. Right? And or you can use the codex if you want a little bit more attack. So this will be your non-champ routes. Now, if you were paying attention to what I was mentioning before with the 5 pieces of champs, then you'll end up with something like this. And then you'll see a lot of players have done this way. Sometimes if you're doing mix, switching these for calf boots helps you out because then it balances out for the lack of calf from the cuts. And you'll see it's a little bit more balanced. But if you stick to the standard, this is how you end up with this. And if you go accessories, a lot of people, and I recommend it, go with faith. And with the faith, you'll end up like this. And that's how you end up with a full 8 piece. So that's the best way I recommend for mixed. Nowadays, there's a lot of calf fronts if you're doing Wonder Wars and stuff. So being calf heavy sometimes it's helpful. And yeah, so however, this gives you a nicer inf range stats to boost for the calf, the inf calf over here. And you'll see that range is typically the lowest because if you're doing a 4-2-4 setup, you want your inf calf to be on the heavier attack stats. So this will be, let's say this is your main stats, right? Then if you want to make like a 4-4-2 style, this would be the way to go. 0-5-5, you'd be looking at this from the higher steel, or if you don't have all the pieces, you can always run something like this, the codex, right? Or even with these, I think you can have like these work as well. Calf range, right? Range. Even your cups. Depending which, I've seen people use rings, I've seen people use cups, and I've seen people use like champion accessories. So that's all dependent up to you. Next, for your familiars, what you'll see me using a lot will be something like this. I'll be using 311Ks with the inf range. If I find myself sitting in a calf front a lot of the times, I will be doing a different setup, and that would be having the range calf heroes, right? So this calf will actually help me hold on to my front line a little bit better because I have stronger calf stats. How you do the familiars is entirely up to you. Everyone runs different ways. For 4-4-2, sometimes it's better to run a range shield, right? Jade Worm and Hell Rider should always be a must. Griffin is if you want to deal the most focus on attack and damage, and the bunny just to kind of help protect a little bit of infantry and do a little more damage to range. Same with this, kind of similar concept. And then you have this, so you can see Jade Worm and Hell Rider will always be there, and the bunny, the calf shield, and Gargantua. However, these can all change depending how you are. A lot of times I've also ran like the 3600, and I've also ran uh, bon appetit, so pure range, and that's all dependent on how you know find yourself in a situation. If you play around with it and experience, you'll see which familiars are best to bring against certain situations, alongside which gear. One thing to know is that if you don't have the 11Ks, nope, got rid of that one. You want to make sure that you have the following, and that would be this one, and then Lord Weaver. So you have those two, and typically, a lot of times what people do is they'll bring Watcher, right? Because he has the attack and the HP. I've seen people sometimes bring this guy along, but he doesn't need the HP. Right? And if you want to swap this out for, let's say, a calf heavier, then you also have Stone Fire. And this will give you a more 2-for-4 heavier. So that's just simple. Keep in mind, the best way to sit, my advice and mix, it is range. If the enemy has low range, then you can sit in a calf front, depending. But if you have, for example, let's just go with a 4-2-4. You can sit in a calf front. If the enemy has, let's say, below 800 range, sometimes in the middle, depending how strong your calf holds up, and that you have the calf shield, this will bounce a lot of targets. However, if your enemy hits you in inf phalanx, you will lose if you're in calf front. But if you're in range front, you will win. And that's where a lot of the stuff gets, trickier. Next follow is inf. If you see like a strong inf range coming at you like a 992, simply switching to inf front will protect you a lot of the times and it will bounce. So those are your main phalanxes that you'll find a lot of times. Range wedge, it's good against, like a calf, but you gotta be careful of the retargeting. And if you sit in range front, this will protect you against 0.55s. So never use calf wedge. I haven't found personally a useful situation where calf wedge works. I have found inf wedge also works against calf fronts. It's kind of like the concept of 0.55. And yeah, so depending on the scenario, these will also vary. And another thing that we'll take into consideration is the number of artifacts, right? So these also will play a role into how well you can take Valley. But yeah, there's the quick mix, and hope you enjoyed.